welcome to the PYRESWAP show for Market Monday. And I want you guys to know, I'll just say right this off the bat, today's a really good day. In fact, this week is a really good week. I know that you might be reeling from, I think, Pyre Phantom took a tumble on Sunday, some reason, not really sure why, but there is nothing bearish happening and only bullish things happening, just to be really clear. I want you guys to understand that, like, the work that I'm doing right now, the work that I'm laser focused and I guess you could say lock-jawed around, legitimately involves establishing and finalizing a system of our business model. And this is kind of like growing a new limb. This is like the entirety of my focus has to be around this, because when I was trying to juggle a couple things, when I was trying to delegate this, it was just not happening. I have to be laser focused to make it happen. Good news is, being laser focused drives results, and that's exactly what I'm driving. Does that make sense? Indeed, Javery, yeah. And by the way, Javery, okay, I'm going to tell you guys other good news coming up here. But first off, I don't know if you guys can see my screen. There is, in general, four systems that every business needs. Does that make sense? Four systems that you need to have in order to scale. Does that make sense? Not just things that you do, but a system for it. To be clear, these systems, again, administration, which is literally just like the managing of things internal. Then you have fulfillment, which is like when you actually provide value to your customers are. Does that make sense? Like you deliver them the product or the service. Sales is the actual conversion process. And then there's marketing. And arguably, this one right here was a system we just did not have. We did not systemize marketing. Does that make sense? We had some theories and ideas about it, but it really was not a billion-dollar approach to marketing like what we need to have. Does that make sense? I know that you think that like you just want to get the peg, and I understand that. I'm not numb to your pain or deaf to your words or blind to what you see. But again, the destiny of this project is even past peg, if that makes sense. Okay? So legitimately, if we don't have like systems in place for all of this, we're not going to be able to scale to being a top 100 market cap by aggregate project. I just hope that makes sense. I would rather not implement bandage solutions. Does that make sense? We had something happen in July, which was like a lucky accident, which was that we fucked up the first Genesis, right? Yeah, Javery, it would be like across all 100. Okay, we have like 37 tokens, right? And actually, we'll end up with more, right? We'll end up with over 40 tokens once we just complete the 3 chains, right? So, yeah, like again, it would be more like every single token is an 8-figure market cap, at least. Does that make sense? Like that's the goal. Like, can we get every single token above 8 figures? Because if we can get every single token above 8 figures, then we're definitely going to be let's put it this way. If we can get every single token to like 50 million market cap, then we're a 2 billion market cap project. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Now, granted, the bond tokens, their market cap can't be larger than the PEG tokens. You guys get how that works. That's something that will only kind of manifest through chaos. And the only way to make it chaotic is, of course, to bring new eyeballs. By the way, our Discord membership is ticking up. Wonder why? Who knows? I want you guys to know that today is actually an extreme greed day. Do you guys understand these 4 systems? Because these 4 systems are something that I've been focusing a lot on internally during internal meetings. Yeah, exactly, Javery, especially in markets, because like you're not going to be able to see the real pattern until we actually have real human brains saturating the system. I think that a lot of people think that I'm ignoring Pyre AVAX and Pyre BNB. The fact of the matter is that I can't steer, like I cannot make people's decisions for them. All I can do is steer them to the project and they end up where they end up. Hoping that makes sense. Okay? Thank you, CJ. Yep, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Dr. Mac. Thank you, Sonic. Do you guys understand these 4 systems? Now, when it comes to marketing as marketing system, this involves having a cadence. This involves the same way that we say GM to each other in the chat. By the way, I know I haven't done it for the last 3 days because I'm so fucking locked in on marketing. We say GM to each other in the chat, right? We have people that run our Twitters and they continually punch out content. Does that make sense? The fact that we have our fulfillment system is literally the epoch system, and that way it happens like 4 times a day. The same stuff that happens like daily and weekly in these systems, it also has to happen in our marketing system. And our marketing system just does not take place on Discord or on the website itself. Do you guys understand? It does not take place on Discord nor the website itself. Marketing also involves ambassadors. There's like a list of ambassadors that I'm waiting to get to. And I'm just going to be an extremist about going in the order of my to-do list. Because when things get chaotic and they try to pull you in a bunch of different directions, that's where you end up underperforming. You have to learn how to prioritize what you're focused on. Otherwise, you'll just get pulled in every direction. But yeah, I want you guys to know, there is nothing bearish. There is nothing bearish. Yeah, I know that there was a Pyre Phantom little upset on the 17th. Not sure why. Yeah. The people that do that are the people that are not coming to these shows. Yeah, or they're not coming to the Discord. Or I have no idea. Maybe they just needed the money somewhere else. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to erase this. But, as far as market analysis goes, for fear and greed, both CoinMarketCap. Hey, Jayri, I appreciate that. And it's okay, Jayri. We're actually not for a lack of ambassadors because there's like 4 ambassadors waiting for me to like talk to them. Does that make sense, Jayri? I have to be, I am focused on something else right now, and then when I do that, I'll just get all the ambassadors in a single week. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we're not. We're not lacking for anything other than like just continuing to do what we've already started, if that makes sense. And that just involves, on my end, it involves a little bit of training. On my end, it involves a little bit more systemization. And I can't really demonstrate that to you guys in screen share or on the whiteboard, but like I need you to understand that there is only good things coming regardless. I mean, for real, and the people that I'm talking to now, in the day-to-day, you guys have seen some crazy shit. So, like, I really hope that nothing in the last week has caused... Yeah, for real. Great things have happened last week. Great things have happened this last week. But I want you guys to see that there is a... for Fear and Greed Index, for Fear and Greed, CoinMarketCap reports 83, which is extreme greed. And Alternative.me, guess what, you guys? Also 83, which they rank as extreme greed. So the market is in extreme greed these days. Does that make sense? I want you guys to think like, why doesn't this extreme greed come to us? Because the market doesn't know enough about us yet. They just don't know we exist because we're getting outshouted by so much trash. Does that make sense? In order to beat trash at their own game, we also have to be not trash in our approach to this. I know that is testing your patience, but like again, this is not a short-term thinking project, just to be clear. Again, there's an Abraham Lincoln quote. You guys might know this quote. Do you guys know the end of this quote? If I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 4. Yep, exactly, Fexer. And I know there was an upset. There was an upset on the 17th. But again, like, yeah, we're going to make it. And by the way, Fexer, I have even better proof than that. I have even better proof. Yeah. And Dr. Mack is correct, but the quote literally is sharpening the axe. Okay, if I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. That is by Abraham Lincoln. He is he's at least one of the more famous American presidents. He's on the $5 bill. And the whole point here is that, like, if you spend the first 4 sharpening the axe, the last 2, you're going to just drive right through the tree. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, as opposed to us just, like, flailing with a dull axe against the tree, we're going to make sure that when we swing this axe and like, I would say keep swinging it because we've been doing some swinging, it's going to fucking just demolish this tree. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm a bit excited today. I don't know if you can tell. But But I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. And I know that I have, okay, if you guys are waiting for me to respond to a DM, yeah, exactly, Jay Reed. Yeah, Jay Reed, that's literally what happened with PYRESWAP too. Yeah, like legitimately, like solving the tomb fork problem was like, hey, actually, you need to have something called terminal utility. Yeah, that was more on that way later. Okay, so legitimately, that was an Abraham Lincoln quote. By the way, there's a Peter Drucker quote. Do you guys know who Peter Drucker is? Who here has heard the name Peter Drucker? Yep. So Peter Drucker was a business author, and he is considered like a legendary business author. And here, I'll pull up the quote because I have it saved on my phone here. Here, you know what I'll do? I'll actually post this in the chat. There you go. Because of the nature of business, it has only two functions: innovation and marketing. Innovation and marketing make money. Everything else is a cost. Did you guys know this? Did you guys know about this quote? It's okay. I learned about this quote in the last week myself. Okay, but the point being is that legitimately, we've already been doing a bunch of innovations. Would you guys agree? I think everybody who is listening to this, every single one of you would agree that the product is clearly innovative. Therefore, the missing ingredient is just marketing. Does that make sense? And I know that like this is the same conversation we've had every week now for, I want to be clear, it's between 9 and 11 weeks that I've been talking about getting this going. I know how long it is. It's about 9 to 11 weeks. Like legitimately, like the time it's taken. But we're almost there. We're almost there. And then like when it actually happens, it's going to take off like an explosion. It's going to take off like a fucking wildfire. Does that make sense? Because we're going to have these cadences that we just layer on top of it. Like we're just going to have like one cadence happening, then we just layer another cadence, another cadence, another cadence. And everyone's problems will be solved. Make sense? So that's a Peter Drucker quote that I posted there in the chat. And okay, so this week, as far as market news goes, you know, by the way, I told you guys we have an official Wall Street Journal subscription now because we're trying to increase the value we provide on the particular Market Monday live stream. If I get a screen share, Mr. Producer, if it works. Okay, right here you can see that this is today's week and this is Monday, November the 18th. But this is arguably a kind of boring week, with exception of this thing on Thursday, which is the leading economic index, right? And the leading economic index, for those of you who don't know, this is an American economic leading indicator intending to forecast future economic activity. So it's calculated by the Conference Board, which is again a NGO. It determines the value of the index from the values of 10 key variables. These variables have historically turned downward before a recession and upward before an expansion. So the percent change year over year is a lagging indicator of the market directions. And I'll show you guys this as well, that they have a 0.4 here with a previous this. So this implies, this is the expected. Yeah, the forecast is 0.4 and this was the previous is 0.5. That is a turn upward. Does that make sense? It is becoming 20% more positive. Do you guys see that? That's about the economy as a whole, right? It might seem like not that important when you look at it like this, but the relative change here is 20% more positive, okay? So this is, again, this is what predicts U.S. recessions, uses each component of the Conference Board's leading economic index. That reports that the indicators signal peaks and troughs in the business cycle, and the aggregate index has been shown to drop ahead of recessions and rise before expansions. And then if you guys want to learn more about this, I would say you can just look up Conference Board leading economic index. And that was really like, I think the most important piece of financial news. If we look at this, by the way, though, because we're looking at the finance and markets on Wall Street Journal, another interesting article here. This is directly related to our marketing efforts, by the way. Directly related. TikTok parent ByteDance's valuation rises to about $300 billion. And arguably, I don't even know what their valuation was before. In fact, let me see. Maybe I should look that up. Private company. Okay, so it's private, so they don't have a chart, at least on this. But what they say, again, their valuation rises to about $300 billion. So investors see Trump victory as a positive with the threat of TikTok ban looming in the United States. Now, regardless whether TikTok gets banned or not, what's definitely not going away anytime soon in the marketing meta is short form video. Does that make sense? And as you guys know, we're going to use short form video extensively in our marketing. Does that make sense? So the point being is that right now, the valuation of short form is going up higher, which I could not agree more. I've seen evidence in my own life quite recently. And yeah, the details, the valuation came in a recent buyback offer, according to people familiar with the offer, and says the company expects its growth to continue. And a law signed by President Biden earlier this year would ban TikTok unless ByteDance divests itself of the app by mid-January. And who knows what will happen there. But the company's valuation has ticked higher in share buybacks over the past year. Yeah. ByteDance valued itself as nearly $225 billion to employees in October 2023. But a buyback boosted its valuation to $268 billion, and now it's $300 billion in the wake of this. So I just want you guys to understand, several billionaires announced plans to bid for TikTok, but ByteDance says that it can't and won't sell TikTok's U.S. operations. Anyways, I want you guys to know this. Legitimately, the strategy, one of our main legs of strategy, which is one of the things that I've been laser focused on, its valuation is only getting higher, to be clear. And like that arguably implies that the type of usage of it is only getting more valuable to users. Because arguably, I can't even imagine a form of social media that would be more habit forming and like more widely consumed than short form. Does that make sense? Like, I can't think of something that's a little bit crazier than this. It gives you like short form video where it has you these instant hooks. The audience like immediately just like jumps right into it, and yeah, like it's actually pretty mind blowing. But anyways, that was the last piece there of I think the news. Let's see. I talked about that. Damn. Okay, I talked about a lot of stuff. I want you guys to know something, and I'm not going to name drop anything, but you guys have heard me talk about how this project, PYRESWAP, is a whole paradigm shift project, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know what that means in detail. But who here has heard the word vibratile before? Okay. Rings a bell? Yeah, Dr. Mac, remember? Yeah, Jay, okay. I want you guys to know, and I'm not going to name drop anything because I haven't done my level of due diligence and detail into this project yet because I've been focusing on PYRESWAP marketing. I do not have time to look up other projects. But a project that was launched by a guy who's been arguably a big fan of mine for 2 fucking years, if not longer, probably 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. They have created a vibratile token on Pulse Chain. There is a vibratile asset on Pulse Chain. And guess what? It's doing really well. Do you know why it's doing really well? Because it doesn't have tomb forks. Just being honest, I'm kidding. They're getting supported by their chain they're on. Does that make sense? I have no idea, Jay. Just like, what do you want? I think it was because they got support from the fucking chain. So the DApp they launched, the token they launched, they got support from the chain, and arguably they must have a lower swap fee. But they're doing quite well, at least on the surface. I'm not trying to tell you. It must have been something they were doing. Yeah, I don't know, Jeffrey. We don't have any plans to go to Pulse Chain. Like, we're not launching any new chains until we fucking print boardrooms. Does that make sense? Like, for real. But the point being is, this project is grounded in Fythian theoretics. Does that make sense? It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I know that he was a top hat guy, right? Yeah. It is a big compliment. It is a big compliment. And by the way, the fact that this product is doing well, we will leverage that to our advantage. We will leverage that to our advantage. So whether that means that we get credit in their documentation or whether we get them to promote our Discord and their Discord, etc., they are, in fact, getting shit tons of volume on their liquidity because I think that they just literally attracted the minimum amount of people to play the vibrattility game. Does that make sense to you guys? Their tokenomics are not exactly the same as PYRESWAP, but you could say that it is designed with FIDE's vocabulary. I'm not going to tell you the name of the token. You can look it up if you want, but I want you to know that product is doing very, very well. And if you guys want to see, yeah. I mean, possibly Fixer? Yeah, but arguably, I'm not betting on that. Holy shit. I'm not betting on that. Goddamn. Yeah. I'm betting on, like, we fucking move the needle. Yeah. We are, like, vibratile is my word brought to DeFi. Does that make sense? Yeah, vibrattility is FI's word. I use this word first, right? So legitimately, somebody else designed and deployed, and they deployed this back in August of this year, and they are doing really well. At least they appear to be doing really well because, I don't know, I haven't really scrutinized it yet. But the point being is, if you guys want to see a glimpse of how good PYRESWAP really is, yeah, Fidonomics indeed. We have way more tokens in this project, to be clear. We have way more Vibratile tokens in this project. Eventually, all of those tokens will be doing phenomenal with volume. Does that make sense? Eventually, all of them. And I mean the Tomb Fork PEG tokens and the Pyre Phantom. Does that make sense? Pyre Gas, right? Pyre Gas and the PEG tokens. They will all be doing really well as far as Vibratile volume goes, okay? You can go look at Vibratile volume right now. The volume is higher than the liquidity. Does that make sense? So it is arguably getting... I can't even do the math on that. But yeah, it is the type of volume people like to see. When daily volume is higher than liquidity. Would you guys agree? Yeah. We will achieve this too. Okay? Because they didn't do a better job at Fideism than Fide. Does that make sense? They might have done, yeah. They might have done, you know what, Javer, I have no idea where the volume's coming from. Yeah, I can ask. But like, they might have done a better job at marketing, especially if they had the chain behind them, right? So if they had the chain they're building on promoting them, it doesn't really blow my mind that they got the size of user base they needed. We've only had this as adversity, but don't worry, like that's not going to stop us, okay? I don't want to sound fucking arrogant, but even the chains that I'm building on, when I look at the leadership teams, they don't even appear to me to be that strong, if that makes sense. And I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant, and I don't want to sound like I'm hubris, especially where my charts are looking, underwhelming. Yeah, well, what I mean to say is, whether it comes to systems, or whether it comes to understanding what their business model is, or whether it comes to understanding what they should even be doing, I don't necessarily... I want you guys to understand, in the long run, we'll be a lot more powerful for having not gotten help from Sonic Labs, or from having not gotten help from Ava Labs. Does that make sense? Yeah, just to be clear. Arguably, the only thing they could do, by the way, and by the way, grant money wouldn't even help that much right now. Does that make sense? It would be like they could begin retweeting us. But like, if they're not going to do that, no big deal. Yeah, doesn't really matter. Anyways, yeah, all the rest is user base and perhaps a bit better educational material, if that makes sense. But like, again, once we have truly our dailies and our weeklies happening for marketing cadence, yeah, that's the new fucking entry. Like, you better if you start finding out that we're hitting our daily and weekly marketing cadence goals consistently, that's your last chance. Yeah, but you know what, Javery? That is not marketing system. Like, that's what other people do, but like, I still have to be better than that. Does that make sense? Yeah, like legitimately, I want you to know, Javery, that's what our approach was before, you know? And like, granted, some of it worked. Yeah, exactly, some of it worked, but like, I'm not going to like, yeah. They say that a mark of growth is when you can look at your past self and see the way that you did things and be kind of embarrassed by it. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to understand the way we did marketing for Genesis V1, I'm a bit embarrassed. Does that make sense? Like, it just legitimately was not, we weren't in control. And on top of the fact of the matter is I didn't know enough about marketing. I hadn't read enough books about marketing. Does that make sense? I could have written the documentation to be more marketing focused. I could have made the landing page a bit more marketing focused. All of these things when we were at our peak of our attention gathering stages, we had to learn those lessons so we could get correct there. Yeah, it is absolutely. It is, Jaber. Yeah, 100%. But the point being is, Fiveanism is already beginning to plant its seeds. Fiveanism is going to take over DeFi, okay? Because Fiveanism is just stronger than conventionalism. What goes for fucking ideology in DeFi right now is so ridiculously, exactly. No, yeah, exactly, Jerry. Yeah. Ideological seed, but seed why not? I'm seeding all over the place. We'll definitely be seeding once this fucking, to be clear, yeah, this project is not like a fork of PYRESWAP. They're a little bit different, but they are in fact using certain mechanisms that kind of work. Yeah, at least, okay, I have not completely looked at their project. I know about their project, and I know they use the terminology that I kind of brought to DeFi. Fantastic, fantastic. I mean, state of Ohio, I'm either happy for you or sad for you. Yeah, good luck with that, I guess. Anyways. We're here about half an hour. Do you guys have any questions? The news cycle is kind of slow. Bitcoin's at like 90K or whatever. Oh, well, don't worry, Javery. We're all going to make it. Yeah, stable coin again. Oh, Bitcoin, you mean? Okay, yeah. Sideways markets are okay. Yeah, Ohio, Riz, yeah, the Rizzler. Gyat. Oh, good for them. Fantastic. Yeah, I would love to see how that product ends up. It still confuses me, and I feel like a guy I know, I feel like as somebody who knows what I feel like as somebody who knows the terminology they use and knows what goes beneath the hood. Anyways, I'm not gonna fucking talk. We don't need to fucking talk about XRP today. Again, yeah, but Javery, that's what I mean. Like, the entire thing about them is narrative. Yeah. I would say that Lido leads the DeFi market. Yeah, Lido staked Ethereum leads DeFi. Curve is definitely up there, though. Curve is definitely like in the top 5. Yeah. Lido, and then Uniswap, and then maybe like MakerDAO, and then maybe Curve. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so Lido DAO, Uniswap, MakerDAO. We don't gotta fucking get in all that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you mean like in recent gain? I have no idea. Yeah. Anyways. If you're still waiting on a DM from me, again, the list has only grown longer. I really believe that I'm going to be able to start drilling through my DM list tomorrow or Wednesday. I apologize that you've had to wait so long for me to respond to a DM, but answering DMs does not move the needle. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like half of the things people DM me about do absolutely nothing for the project. So like, if it's a side conversation, I legitimately just like, I'm gonna start answering those like one time a week. Does that make sense? Yeah. It would make more sense to anyways, don't worry about that. But yeah, if you guys have been waiting for me to respond to a DM for a long time, if it's an emergency, by the way, if it's something emergent, you can actually you can write about it in the PYRESWAP beta channel, and somebody in there can contact me, right, more directly than Discord, because I legitimately have not even been looking at Discord, because Discord is not where our marketing system is going to be implemented. Discord will eventually become part of it, but we funnel into Discord, if that makes sense. We don't start with Discord. Back in 2022, Discord was extremely viable as a marketing platform, but just it is not anymore, and that's okay. That's okay. Anyways, Discord isn't going anywhere either, by the way. Okay, so, by the way, our Discord members are ticking up as well. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Because honestly, I'm going to end it. Yeah. Exactly. And Jay-Bree, that's what I mean. When Discord ticks up, it means that is one of the metrics we can look at that basically creates the ceiling for our actual active user base. Does that make sense? So I want to get 5,000 Discord members. Does that make sense? I want to get 10,000, right? You ever been to a Discord that has like 20,000 members? Like that's the real goal, to be clear. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Right? I want to be gaining Discord members at that rate. Does that make sense? Yeah. It just requires systems. Any ETA in the next steps? I would say within 36 hours. Electronic? Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, you're. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I apologize. I have to be vague about this. But yeah, like, legitimately, I'm doing next steps every day over here. I'm doing next steps every day. But you just guys can't see it. It's not on Discord. It's not on the chart. If you guys want to see, you guys can look up PYRESWAP on Facebook or Instagram. You guys can look up PYRESWAP on TikTok. Yeah, if you guys want to. You might, if you start seeing activity there, then you'll know that's like the top of the funnel. Make sense? Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you guys look up PYRESWAP there, that might give you a little bit of alpha. But we've only had one post so far, and it was kind of like a test post. It did show us good things, but the only thing left to do now is kind of like fire hose it. The goal is to have like 3 to 4 posts a day that get cross-posted across all these platforms, as well as the Senorita Circus YouTube channel. More on that later. More on that soon, but more on that later. Yep. I want to thank you guys for your continued patience and belief. And yeah, we're all going to make it. Only bullish things happening. I'm actually extremely bullish that my own theoretics are now have proof of concept out there. Maybe for a show later this week, I can do a deep dive analysis of that project. I have not had the time to do the documentation yet. Like, I'm not going to even get distracted by documentation, which is a shiny object to me. I have to be completely focused on the marketing systems. Does that make sense? I'm not saying GM in chat. Not because they're not good mornings. They're still good mornings. I literally cannot. I have to be in Discord for like 3 things tops. If I start doing other things in this, we are not moving the needle on the marketing system. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Carl Jung, by the way, Carl Jung, he would switch between going into Geneva and being at conferences and doing speaking all over the place, and then he would, by the way, this book right here, Deep Work by Cal Newport. Have you guys read this? Has anyone read Deep Work by Cal Newport? This book was somewhat famous, I think, a few years ago. Anyways, this is literally where he tells the story about Carl Jung. Yeah, so the point being is, Carl Jung would switch between modes where he would be doing, he would be going to Geneva and having conferences and doing seminars and teaching, and then he would go to the fucking Swiss countryside and he would seclude himself in a cabin because that's where he needed to be secluded to actually get the work done that's not done in the sight of others. Does that make sense? And this book talks about Carl Jung as an example of like how you kind of manage deep work versus shallow work. Does that make sense to you guys? I do recommend this book, by the way. It's a good read. If you haven't read Deep Work by Cal Newport, it's a yellow cover. Deep Work. You can't fucking miss it. I want you to know, Alessio, that is a advantage as well, but don't worry. We're going to outmarket the Pulse Chain project too. Does that make sense? We're going to outmarket every project. Yeah. That project is not a competitor to us. They are in fact, our disciple, as it were, right? Our student. We'll call him a student. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want you to know that our student has an advantage in marketing, and it just shows that they got the user base they needed to prove the concept. Does that make sense? I don't know if this is true yet because I really got to scrutinize it. But the point being is that the student's project is doing what appears to be well on the surface, and they've only been around like 2 months, 2.5 months. So the point being is that, again, yeah, if we have 2 months left in our fucking Genesis, I want you guys to know we can make it, all right? I want you guys to know we can make it before Genesis ends. And even if, yeah, whatever, like, no big deal. Okay. All right. Nope. Nope. Yep, I'm not name dropping the project. Yep. But you can perhaps investigate it based on the other stuff I said. Because I'm not going to name drop a project I haven't done the fucking docs on. But I guarantee you, Alessio, you'll be able to figure it out within 24 hours. Okay, guys. We're here. We're still maybe only like 37 minutes in. But if it's all the same to you guys, I talked about the leading economic indicator. That was useful. The calendar's kind of boring this week, but we are on a greed cycle. This week is normally the week in the United States where they have the Thanksgiving holiday, but it's not happening this week. It's happening next week. I want you guys to know that we might take that Thursday off next week, to be clear. Like, even though it would be a morning show, we might just cancel Thankful Thursday anyway, because it would be Thanksgiving. We might do a short one anyway. Who fucking cares? Who fucking knows? But yeah. Anyways, there's only good things happening. It just might be outside of where you're looking. And I encourage you, yeah, all right, I encourage you guys in general. Yeah, be strong and of good courage. Yeah, for the Lord God is with you, as the Bible says. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming to the PYRESWAP show for Market Monday. I apologize for it being short, but I think we got through a lot of material. I'm excited about some stuff that we're going to show you soon. Have a great rest of your day.